Her late-night gym sessions didn't add up. One thank you basket destroyed her lies. The trainer's wife came raging. My wife stood in front of the mirror, checking her reflection like she was preparing to meet royalty. Her gym bag sat at the door, packed neatly the night before. She wore that new perfume, one she never bothered wearing around me. A citrus scent that didn't belong in our home anymore. She looked good. Too good. Not the going to sweat at the gym kind of good. More like you auditioning for someone else's approval. She tied her ponytail tighter and looked at me through the mirror. My gym trainer gives me so much attention, she said casually. You could learn a thing or two from him. There it was. The comparison. The challenge. The insult dressed as advice. I didn't react. I just stared at her, letting silence do the heavy lifting. She smirked, thinking she'd won some kind of battle. You don't have to be jealous, she added. He actually notices me. Compliments me. Pushes me to be better. I laughed inside. Not because it was funny, but because she truly believed I was clueless. She leaned in, kissed my cheek, and whispered, try to be more like him, okay? Then she walked out like she owned a spotlight. I watched the door shut behind her, and the smile faded from my face. The late-night gym sessions. The sudden obsession with fitness. The trainer texting at midnight, a vibration she never let me see. And the lies, poorly rehearsed lies. She forgot who I used to be, the guy who built a life through observation and strategy. She thought marriage turned me into a fool. Cheating wasn't just a possibility anymore. It was the only explanation that made sense. But confronting her directly would only push her deeper into denial and further into his arms. I needed patience. Proof. And the perfect moment. One evening, when she was in the shower, her phone lit up. A message preview popped up just enough to read. Tomorrow. Same time. Can't wait to feel you again. Not hear you. Not see you. Feel you. And his contact name? Coach. With a red heart emoji. My heartbeat didn't quicken. My hands didn't shake. Anger didn't explode. No, a cold, calm plan formed instantly. She wanted me to learn from her gym trainer? Fine. I would take a lesson from him. A lesson in betrayal. The next morning, I drove to a gourmet shop. The kind that wrapped gifts in designs that whispered money. I told them to prepare a luxury gift basket. The finest champagne. Imported chocolates. Massage oils. A handwritten card I wrote myself. Thank you for all the personal attention you've been giving my wife. The store clerk smiled politely, unaware that the ink carried war. Then I asked a question. Can you look up the address linked to this gym trainer's loyalty account? I need it delivered to his home. My wife wants it to go directly to his wife. His wife, the woman asked innocently. Yes, I answered with a perfect husband smile. He always talks about how supportive she is. It took just a moment of tapping. She handed me the address. One small decision. One spark. And the fire started burning. When she returned that day, she looked annoyed that I wasn't questioning her late arrival. She came home flushed, with gym hair that looked more like bed hair, if you asked me honestly. How was the gym? I asked while casually watching TV. Good. Exhausting. You know how it is. She lied right to my face with the ease of someone breathing. She didn't even turn to see if I believed her. I made dinner. Her favorite. She barely touched it, texting more than she chewed. She laughed at something on her phone and then caught herself, trying to hide the excitement in her eyes. Who are you chatting with? I asked playfully. Oh, just a friend, she said quickly. Her screen flipped downward, like a reflex. I nodded. Good. You deserve friends who appreciate you. She looked confused by the compliment. She expected resentment. Instead, I gave her kindness so thick she would drown in it later. 2 days later, it happened. The doorbell rang. I opened it. A woman stood there, eyes wild, breathing like a bull ready to charge. She didn't wait for permission, she shoved past me and stormed into the house. She grabbed my wife by the hair, dragged her off the couch and slammed her into the floor. My wife shrieked, confused and terrified. "How dare you?" the woman roared. "I knew it. I knew you were the whore ruining my marriage." I pretended to be shocked. I pretended I had no idea who she was. My wife stuttered, "Who are you? Get out of my house." "The wife of the man you've been screwing at the gym," she shouted, venom dripping from every syllable. My wife froze. Her face lost all color. The angry woman wasn't finished. "I got your husband's adorable little gift basket. You think I wouldn't notice the massage oils and love notes? The same ones my husband used on me for years." She kicked my wife hard in the ribs. I stepped forward, not because I wanted to save my wife, but because I didn't want her dead. "Not yet." "That's enough," I said firmly. My voice didn't shake. It carried authority. She finally backed away but didn't leave, she wanted more answers. My wife crawled to me, holding her stomach, tears pooling in her eyes. "Please," she whimpered. "Call the police. She's insane." I looked down at her, the woman who was ready to throw our marriage away for gym compliments. I kept my expression neutral. Calm. Cold. "Is she lying?" I asked quietly. Her eyes widened as panic fully settled in. I don't know what she's talking about," she gasped. "She's making this up." "Then why does her husband have your perfume on his shirt?" the woman snarled. "Why did you block me on social media? Why does he come home smelling like fruity body wash?" Every accusation hit like a hammer. And still, I stayed silent. My wife turned toward me, gripping my leg like she was drowning. "I swear to you, it's not what it looks like." Not what it looks like. Cheaters love that phrase. I crouched down, looking right into her trembling eyes. "I sent the basket," I whispered. Her mouth parted, confusion shifting into horror. "I know," I continued. "Everything." She shook her head, like denial could rewrite history. "No, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly," I replied. "You wanted attention. You wanted admiration. You wanted your gym hero. And now you have his wife's attention too." She tried to speak, but no sound came out. I stood up, letting her hand fall from my leg like a dying leaf. The trainer's wife stepped closer, a satisfied grin stretching across her face. "You think this ends here?" she asked my wife. "You haven't even felt the real consequences yet." My wife sobbed loudly, begging for a reality that no longer existed. I didn't yell. I didn't insult her. I just watched her fall apart. And as I turned to leave the room, she screamed. "Where are you going?" I stopped at the doorway and looked back at her, broken, desperate, betrayed by her own choices. "To make another call," I said. "A call that will decide whether you still have a home." Her eyes widened again, terror swallowing every remaining lie. This was just the beginning. She thought humiliation was the worst part. No. The real pain was still loading. Because I wasn't done. Not even close. My wife's sobs echoed behind me as I stepped away, leaving her crumpled on the living room floor. The trainer's wife stood there with her arms crossed, breathing heavily like she had run through a storm of rage to get here. "You're too calm," she muttered, narrowing her eyes at me. "I expected you to fight, to defend her." "She made her choice," I replied coldly. "Now I'm making mine." The woman nodded once, her anger shifting into something more controlled. She walked to the door, heels hitting the floor with sharp clicks. Before she left, she turned back to my wife and spat one last blow. "You weren't even his only side project." Then she stormed out. My wife's scream followed, a wail I would never forget. The moment every lie she'd wrapped herself in finally burned away. She crawled toward me again, clutching my pant leg like I was the last piece of land in a rising flood. "I messed up," she whispered. "I can fix this. I will fix this. Please, don't leave me." I pried her fingers off my clothes. "You didn't just mess up," I said. "You destroyed us." Her tears fell harder. "You could have talked to me," she whimpered. "You could have asked me what I needed. And you could have respected your vows," I shot back. "But you preferred flattery from a man who charges by the hour." She flinched, wounded by the truth she created. I walked to the kitchen counter where an envelope waited, divorce papers I drafted weeks ago after the first undeniable clue. She saw them and froze. "No, please. Don't do this," she begged. "We can try therapy." "You should have thought about therapy before you let him take your clothes off," I cut in sharply. She collapsed there on the floor, gripping her hair in her fists, shaking like someone who finally realized their nightmare was real. But I wasn't done. Money. Prestige. Our home. Everything she built her ego on. I would strip it all away. I picked up a small device from the shelf, her spare gym keychain. The one with a hidden voice recorder inside. Her face went pale. "You recorded me," she choked out. "I recorded enough," I replied. "All your calls. Your little rendezvous scheduling. Even your complaints about how I wasn't good enough anymore." She covered her mouth, horror spreading through her. "I was going to confront you sooner," I said, "but you just kept digging your own grave deeper." She crawled again, trying to hug my legs. "I am so sorry," she cried. "I love you." I leaned down, staring directly into her wet, red eyes. "If this is what your love looks like," I said quietly, "I don't want any of it." Her breathing grew frantic, a panic attack brewing. But empathy wasn't in me anymore. Not after what she did. Later that night, while she hid in our bedroom crying into her pillow like a child, I opened my laptop. With a few clicks, the hidden recordings, screenshots, and messages went straight to her gym's HR department, the trainer's employer's admin, our mutual friend's private group, the trainer's wife's inbox again. And finally, a secure drive labeled "Evidence for court." Her reputation? Already circling a drain with no cover. When she walked out of this marriage, she wouldn't be the victim she tried to act like, she would be exposed as the architect of her own ruin. She came out again, shaking. "You're going to ruin my life," she whispered. I didn't deny it. She needed clarity. "I'm not ruining your life," I corrected. "You did that the moment you chose him over us." She backed away slowly, like she feared what I might do next. Good. Fear was a better teacher than love. The next morning, she hadn't slept. Her eyes were swollen, makeup smeared like war paint. The doorbell rang. She jumped. "No, not again," she whimpered. This time, it wasn't an angry woman. It was the trainer. He stood there with a busted lip and a black eye. So the wife got to him first. He stepped inside without an invitation because he was too stupid to understand boundaries were his biggest problem. "Where is she?" he demanded. I smiled slightly. "Right behind you." He turned just in time for her to slap him across the face. A hard, desperate strike filled with the realization that he wasn't her hero, just another coward. "What did you tell her?" he yelled. "What did you tell your wife?" she shot back. He grabbed her arm. I stepped forward. "Touch her again," I said, "and I'll let your wife finish you properly next time." He stumbled back, realizing he was in the wrong backyard. His bravado melted into fear. "This wasn't supposed to happen," he muttered. "Cheating never is," I replied. He turned and fled like a scared animal. My wife reached for me again, voice shaking. "Can we just start over?" "No," I answered without hesitation. She blinked, stunned that I didn't even need to think about it. I stood by you through everything, I continued. Your insecurities. Your drama. Your ego. I supported you when you doubted yourself, when you fell apart, when you felt unworthy. I stepped closer so she could hear every word like a blade cutting clean. And you paid me back with betrayal. Not once. Not by accident. But repeatedly. With intention. Her legs gave out. She fell to her knees again. I'll lose everything, she whispered. That's what happens when you gamble something you can't afford to lose. I placed the signed papers on the table. Sign them, I said. And pack your things before sunset. She grabbed my wrist, the last strength she had. I made a mistake, she cried. A horrible one. I was selfish, lost. I thought. You thought you could do better than me, I interrupted. She froze. Finally, she understood the core truth. You thought I would always be here waiting, I said. Being your backup while you pretended to be desirable to someone else. Tears streamed down her face as the walls closed in on her. I never wanted to lose you, she whispered. You should have thought of that when you were too busy losing your clothes with him. I pulled my wrist free. She didn't resist this time. Hours passed. The house stayed quiet. She packed a small suitcase, only essentials. Everything else? She knew she had no right to ask for it. As she walked to the door, she looked at me one last time. I hope one day you find someone who appreciates you, she said. I already appreciate myself, I replied. And that's something you never did. She stepped outside. The door shut. And silence returned, peaceful this time. Weeks later, my lawyer informed me she tried to renegotiate for more financial support. The evidence file shut that down instantly. The gym trainer? Fired. Divorced. Blacklisted in the fitness community. His wife even messaged me. Thank you for exposing him. I'm finally free. As for my ex? Her social circle shrank faster than her lies could catch up. People love fitness and empowerment. But they hate a fraud. And me? I didn't rebuild. I upgraded. New life. New confidence. New peace. Sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't fury. It's walking away with everything they tried to take from you. While they're left with nothing but regret.